Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the BFNL Netball Show for another week. Of course, the number one netball show in the state of Victoria. Let's have absolutely no bones about it. The ratings have proved it recently, and we're very happy to be number one on your screens and in your hearts. Sean Kelly's my name, and after that sickly sweet intro, Matty Wiltshire, welcome back to the show.
Thanks, gentlemen. Thanks for having me on the show, mate. Cheers, yeah. Got me in stitches in that one.
If you can't help yourself, who can you help, mate?
Yeah, exactly.
Let's jump straight in and have a look at last week's round 3 in the BFNL's A-grade netball competition, starting with the game between Lake Wendouree and Back Anstey, of course, being played up at Mattingley Park. A big win by the Lakers, 67-14, getting themselves over the line. Kat Biscan, 30 goals for the Lakers. Chrissy Page, 24 as well, leading the way. Linda Powell and Taylor Drevensek, 7 each for Back Anstey. Molly Boyle was Lake Wendouree's best player. Katie Williams as well in the best in her first game, and Jackie Clifton for Back Anstey. Geraldine Hayne, Jackie McHenry and Jacinta Reid, their better players. Matty, really solid win by the Lakers. Yeah,
it was obviously very strong performance by Biscan and Page up forward. I see Page got 24 goals from 3 quarters, so very strong down there in the shooting. And we also see, not just in the forwards, but then Molly Boyle and Jacqueline Clifton strong in defence, both getting the best, so both very strong there. So a really good, well-rounded performance by Lake Wendouree, and we're just too strong for Back Anstey.
Yeah, they were indeed. As we know, Back Anstey still in that development stage, so it's good to get some players in there and get them the experience against the people like Katie Williams in centre court and the Kat Biscans that have had a lot of experience throughout their netball careers as well. It can only teach these Back Anstey girls good things, and they're heading in the right direction. Match of the round last weekend, it was billed East Point versus Sunbury, and it pretty much lived up to that expectation. On a pretty wet and windy and cold day at the Eastern Oval, it was Sunbury getting over the line at 38-28 against East Point. Sophie Gunn was enormous up forward with 32 goals once again. Ruth Smith also threw in 6 for Sunbury. East Point shared it around. Emma Ryan 13, Lauren Jew 9, Cindy Daniel 4 and Kate Martin 2. Better place for Sunbury as a party, Moffat and Smith, and for East Point, Ryan, Van Dyke and Martin. Another very good game of netball between these two sides. And look, Sunbury were always in front throughout the game, Matty, but you could sense that East Point weren't that far away. Having said that, and we'll hear it later on, Sunbury probably thought they should have been further in front as well.
Yeah, this just proves how strong the Sunbury side is this year, obviously. East Point, a very strong side in the competition, and to have a 10-goal win over East Point's fantastic for the Sunbury girls. And Emma Ryan obviously starting in shooter for the first two, then Sophie Gunn just too unstoppable. Emma Ryan had to move back into defence for the last 2 quarters to try and see if she could stop her. But
I thought Emma actually played pretty well on Sophie in that last quarter as well.
Yeah, she's a very versatile player. Emma obviously playing forward and back, but shooter and defence, I should say, in netball terms. But Sophie Gunn, again, she's just unstoppable, really. She had 32 goals, so fantastic performance by her, and also the whole Sunbury side.
She did indeed. We're going to catch up with a couple of people that played in this game. We're going to have Emma Ryan in studio later on in the show, but before we do, after the game on Saturday, we caught up with Sunbury captain Back Anstey to have a bit of a chat about this game and how Sunbury are lining up for the season. So let's have a listen to what Beck had to say. We're here today on the Netball Show with Sunbury captain Back Anstey. Beck, congratulations on the win today. Really strong start to the season for you.
Yeah, pretty happy with how it's all tracking. Very tough conditions out here, very wet. But yeah, we just slowed it down and managed to get a good win. Actually, the scoreboard doesn't really show exactly how tough it was out there.
Strong win against a side that obviously played in the preliminary final, have been white hot in the first half of the season, and you did it really without your first choice lineup today as well, which would give you some confidence.
Yeah, we have recruited. We've got a couple of young girls that have come in as a party, and also Ruth Smith. So yeah, very happy with our recruiting, and we do still have some old bags to come back into the side.
When you mentioned that word, but I'll use experience, and I suppose it's the experience.
They're not here, they can't defend themselves.
Good point. The experience that's really held you in good stead early on, especially with yourself and Beck Moffat in defence, just really having that experience to stand strong early in games.
Yeah, Moffat is going pretty well. She's finding form as every game goes past, and then also we're getting in sync again. So we've had the season off and slowly getting it back together in the defensive end.
And of course it helps when you've got somebody that's almost automatic in goals in Sophie Gunn that you can pass it to and it's almost guaranteed to go in.
Yeah, Gunny. When she's the hardest thing with Gunny is that she has to stop laughing in order to shoot the goal. So when she actually stops laughing, then she's quite accurate. So
3-0 to start the season off. Obviously, we know what you guys did last year. What's your expectations from this point going forward for 2014?
Look, it's a really long season, 18 weeks, and then obviously the 4 or 5 week final series, 5 weeks. So anything can happen, and I suppose it's just taking each game as it comes, because we don't know what the other teams are looking like. We don't know how well they've recruited. We've only won by 1 goal last week. So we're not really going to count our chickens, but just taking every game and trying to throw out as much intensity as we can.
Oh, well, Beck, thanks for joining us on what was a wet and challenging day here at the Eastern Oval, and good luck going forward.
Thank you.
Back Anstey from the Sunbury Netball side, of course, their premiership captain last year in the A-grade competition. Big game on Saturday between Redan and Melton South at the Mars City Oval, and a solid win by Redan in this one, winning 53-20. Meg Hope 39 goals and Grace Jens 14 as well, leading the way for Redan. Andrea Ty with 12 for Melton South, and then Eva with 4, Robertson 3 and Malumbi 1. Best players for Redan, Emma Henrys, who's had a fantastic season so far. Once again, better player for Redan, as well as Hope and Perkins. And for Melton South, Eva, Ty and Malumbi, they're better players. From all reports, a few out of the Melton South side this week, but Redan also had a couple out. Amy Elliott didn't play. Cass Peace, I should say, didn't play as well. It gave Kate McMahon a chance to swing Meg Hope forward into goals as well and give her a chance to shoot, and she responded with 39 goals.
Yeah, when I looked at this result first, I was a bit surprised. I thought Melton South would obviously take it up a lot more to Redan, having their success so far this season. But then I heard, obviously they had a few players out, so a bit disappointing for them. But Redan just showing they are definitely going to be one of the teams to beat this season, having a very strong win over Melton South, who I really thought were going to be sort of your top 3 contenders, and they still obviously could be. But we see Meg Hope going to goals, a big day in goals, 39 goals. It was fantastic for her. So Redan's side very versatile this year. They can have a lot of players who play in a lot of positions, so they're going to be very tough to beat. And obviously coming up against Sunbury this week, it's going to be a fantastic game. 15
goals up at 3/4 time. Redan, they rest Erin Rowley for the last quarter and still see the lead increase. So I suppose that shows as you said, the versatility, as I put my teeth back in, of the Redan side this season, and just how strong they are all across the court. Sebastopol taking on Darley on Sunday, and the Sebastopol, after a slow start, which I suppose has been a bit of their bugbear this season, got the victory. They were down at quarter time, only 2 goals up at half time, but ended up winning the game quite comfortably, 37-30. Erin Atherton, 22 goals for Sebastopol, Georgia Can 9 and Amy Neville 6. For Darley, Brianna Burke scored 12 goals, Brooke Burke 12 goals, and Tanya Rawnsley 12 also, with Tale Bari scoring 6. Better players for Sebastopol, Pearce, Atherton and Denalden, and for Darley, Bari, Rawnsley and Marshall. Strong win for Sebastopol, finally got their first win on the board for the year, and whilst the margin doesn't look much, consider this: Georgia Can played 2 quarters. She played the first quarter and the last quarter. From her own admission, she stunk it up during those 2 quarters as well. You could smell the stench from the Golden Nugget in Sebastopol, was what I heard, but came off the court for the second and third quarter. They also had Rhiannon Banner out of the side, who decided to watch football rather than play netball this week. So Banner's completely wagged it, just phoned it in completely. And Sebastopol's still able to win, I suppose, without... Obviously, we know how good a player Georgia is, and Rhiannon's been one of their better players this season, so that really augurs well for Sebastopol.
Yeah, it's fantastic to see Sebastopol get their first win on the board, and without their main defender, main shooter sort of playing, or Georgia did play obviously, but not playing to their full potential, we could say. To see them get a win just shows that they do have a fair bit of depth in their side as well. It's not sort of just your main 2 players there that are lifting them along, so it's a really fantastic result there for Sebastopol, and I think they're going to be one to watch for this season. They're going to slowly creep their way up, and we'll see how they go with the full side next week.
Great to see Candice Pearce in the side as well. Apparently she really made the difference on the weekend. Height in defence was what helped get them over the line, and obviously we thought coming into this game that they didn't need the height in defence against Darley, because Darley with that very undersized shooters, but Candice came in, and from the reports I heard, she made all the difference with her height, just being able to have that reach and the height extension in the defensive line. So really good work, and just shows I really don't know what I'm talking about in this show. The last game of the round, North Ballarat City taking on Ballarat. This game was played under lights at Eureka Stadium on Saturday night, and a pretty comprehensive win to North City in the end. 59-7. Gina McCartan 30 goals for North City, and Tani Nestor 29. For Ballarat, Van Rossum 4 and Phillips 3. Best players for North City: Tani Nestor, Emily Pellegrino and Gina McCartan. And for Ballarat, Ellen Bowman, Ellen Wirtz and Beth Van Rossum. They're better players on the weekend, and a pretty strong win by North Ballarat City, Matty.
Yeah, the interesting fact, those teams only had 7 players who took the court, so there was no substitutes throughout the game. So obviously it was a very wet match, so poor girls had to stick out there for the full 4 quarters. But
cold night at the Northern Oval, good luck.
So it would have been great fun. But all credit to North Ballarat City, that's a fantastic result. I know a few of the Ballarat girls were at the Groove in the Move Festival, so there's a few missing from the Ballarat squad. But
do you have anything to do with that?
No.
Good.
No, I didn't.
Good.
But North Ballarat, full credit to them. That's a fantastic win, and it's good to see. Obviously, Gina McCartan and Tani Nesta, 30 and 29 goals. It's obviously sharing the ball around in the goal circle and really going fantastic. And I think this is a segue into our Stockland Player of the Week award.
It certainly is, of course, the fantastic Stockland Wendouree Player of the Week award, and we thank obviously Stockland Wendouree for their fantastic support of this award throughout the season. The $25 voucher to Stockland Wendouree, and of course a vast variety of stores within that fantastic complex. Paddy, you're going to tell us who the Stockland Wendouree Player of the Week winner is for round 3.
There was a lot of pressure on this player coming into a North Ballarat side, feeling a big role and playing a new position in a goal attack she played on the weekend. So goals in the goals, but Tani Nesta, obviously a fantastic result there, shooting the 29 goals for North Ballarat and really proving that she has filled the big shoes of Jordan Bibby from last year. So I think she definitely deserves this week's Stockland Player of the Week. So well done to Tani.
Congratulations to Tani Nesta from North Ballarat City. We'll make sure we get that award to you out on the weekend. But we're going to have a little bit of help to help us for this next part of the show, Maddie, and we're also going to announce our SC Technology Player of the Month award as well, which this next person doesn't know about, so watch the reaction when she comes in, because we've brought in Emma Ryan from the East Point Netball Club to have a bit of a chat about her season to date, how she's shaped up, and to help us preview this week's games. So we're going to duck off for a minute, and you're going to come in and see the next screen that comes in after this slide. There's going to be 3 of us here. Welcome back to the BFNL Netball Show. We're here now with East Point star Emma Ryan. Emma, welcome to the Netball Show.
Thanks, Shaun. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for coming in. And we just spoke about, as you may have heard, the East Point Sunbury game on the weekend. Unfortunately, you lost, but I thought a really strong battle in pretty tricky conditions throughout the whole day.
Yeah, absolutely. We knew from the start Sunbury were going to be very tough again this year, obviously keeping most of their strong players. I think we played pretty well as a team. I think the consistency was something that we struggled with on the weekend. Mm-hmm. But look, it's early days, so we're not too worried about the loss at this stage. But yeah, no, it was a good match, and it was good to have a good tough match up early. So
first couple of weeks of the season have been pretty good for East Point, and I suppose yourself, you've floated between goals and defence. Obviously, you're a natural defender, but you've been playing in goals a fair bit, and you've been great in goals in the first couple of weeks as well. How have you found kind of juggling the 2 positions so far?
I've really enjoyed playing goals this year. I suppose you get sort of a bit sick of playing the same position all the time, so it's been really good to get a go in goals this year. I haven't found it too tough to go from one to the other. On the weekend I played half in shooter, half in defence, so it just kind of depends on the combinations at the time and who we're playing against. So, but no, it's been really good playing both ends this year. So,
what do you prefer, like playing in goals on the weekend and obviously getting them all in, or like you had to in the last quarter on the weekend, playing on someone like Sophie Gunn, who's probably 4 or 5 inches taller than you on a wet day?
Yeah, look, I think obviously there's a lot less pressure playing in defence, so that's sort of something I have to keep in mind. But I really enjoy playing goals, and I think that it is one of our strengths this year to sort of change the team up if one combination not working, put Lauren back into shooter, and she does a really good job when she's in there too. So
as we saw in the preliminary final.
Yeah, absolutely. Just sort of
semi-final, sorry.
Yeah, absolutely. So just think it depends on who we play, and yeah.
Fantastic. We'll jump away from East Point now. Jump into Insley. We had our first tryouts on Sunday.
Yeah.
How was that experience, and also how do you think the team's going to go this year?
Yeah, look, I haven't played. This is my first year sort of trying out because we've always clashed with the Pride game. Yeah, it was really good. It was good to sort of meet Kate and sort of see what, how she kind of coached and things like that. There was a lot of numbers there, which is really good, and I think that the side will be very strong once the side is selected. And yeah, it was really good to get a run out with those girls who I haven't really played a lot with. So yeah, it was really good.
Fantastic. Yeah, we heard from Kate that there's a lot of good girls there, so it's going to be obviously very hard
16 to choose for a squad of 10 from, so good luck, Katie.
Yeah, she's got a very tough kick there. Also, you've had obviously a lot of success with your netball. You played over summer in the Vic under-21 side.
Yeah.
How was that sort of playing with obviously the most elite players in Victoria, and how is it bringing sort of that experience back to the local league?
Yeah, it was a really, really good experience, probably one of the best I've ever had. I suppose it's kind of helped with my netball a lot, as I didn't really get any time off netball over summer, so I was kind of just always playing and didn't stop, so that's kind of helped me bring that back to East. And it was a really, really good experience, and I definitely thought I'd developed as a player over that time, and yeah, it was just really good.
Fantastic. Cross back to Shawnee now, who's got a bit of a surprise for everyone on the show here.
Pause. Danny.
Yeah. Have you done the Spirit Sports tickets?
No.
You know, hot back this afternoon.
That's okay.
Come on, Danny. That was actually a good segue because I knew that I had to pause because Des tried to open the door and not knowing we were filming. Alright, so it's back on. Thanks, Matty. Now, Emmy, you'd be aware of the fact that we've been producing the Stockholm Wendouree Player of the Week award. You've obviously watched the show. You've loved it like everybody else has because it is fantastic, let's be honest with you. And we've been presenting that, and as we know, Tani Nesta, this week's winner of the Stockholm Wendouree Player of the Week award, the $25 voucher. But you may not know, because we haven't spoken about it all that much, but we're also have a Player of the Month award, the SC Technology Player of the Month award. What we're giving as the Player of the Month each month, as we've spoken on the show earlier this year, is this fantastic Toshiba tablet, $699 worth of Toshiba tablet. And I'm pleased to announce our first SC Technology Player of the Month for April is Emma Ryan from the East Point Netball Club. Emma, congratulations. There's your prize. Our very first SC Technology Group Player of the Month, and we didn't tell her coming in either, so that was a very natural reaction you just saw there. So congratulations,
Thank
Emma.
you, that's fantastic. It's very exciting. Can't wait to get home and have a look at it.
Oh, I actually spoke to your coach about it on Saturday, so Emma knew about it.
Oh, did she?
She said that it'd be perfect for you because you're a uni student and it'll be something that'll really help you out. So,
yeah, definitely.
as well as obviously earning it through your play, I suppose it's worked out pretty well for you.
Yeah, definitely. Absolutely.
Well, let's have a look at this week's games because we've got some fantastic games coming in this weekend's round 4 netball competition. Starts off on Saturday at Darley Park. Darley taking on Ballarat, Matty. I reckon this is going to be a pretty good game.
Yeah, obviously it's one that's sort of Ballarat to be coming into thinking they might have a better chance as what they would have obviously against North last week, coming up against a very strong side there. But I think Darley again going to be too strong for Ballarat. Just again they're a young, experienced side, but Darley, they win on the board round 1 against Back Anstey. Round 2 I should say. Back Anstey had the bye first round. So I think Darley are going to be able to go over the top of the young Ballarat side this week.
Yeah, Darley pushed Sebastopol last week, but Emma, you've seen Ballarat in action already this season on Anzac Day, and despite them being very young and obviously very inexperienced, they're a team that plays whistle to whistle.
Yeah, absolutely. I think Ballarat are definitely going to be very strong over the next couple of years. They've got a lot of young girls who definitely have a lot of potential, and yeah, I think I would tip Ballarat this week.
Very good.
I think they will have their first win this weekend.
I'm going to tip Darley. I've seen Darley in action a couple of times, and I actually like the way they go about it this year. They're pretty, as we've said, a uniform size across the court, but they get the job done pretty well, and I reckon they'll get over the line this weekend. Match of the round, East Point taking on North Ballarat City. We saw this match at the pointy end of the season a couple of times last year, Emma, and this is going to be a real challenge for you because, from all reports, East Point have got a few outs, including yourself this week.
Yeah, we have a Ballarat Pride match this weekend, so we've got 4 players. So myself, Lauren Atkinson, Lauren Dew and Cindy Daniel all out this weekend.
Wow,
But North have also got Sarah Milton, one of their stronger players, out as well. So it'll kind of just depend on the day and who plays better. But yeah, it should be a great game.
How do you think you can beat North Ballarat City this week?
Obviously, they've got very strong attackers in Gina and Stacey, and they're always going to be hard to beat. So I think if we shut down that combination, then we have a chance. But yeah, like I said, they are a very tough team.
How do you find playing on someone like Gina McCartan, who is so accurate as a shooter, but she's 4'0", and she's hard to defend sometimes because she's so short, but she's so quick. She's got that McCartan quickness.
Yeah, it's really hard to play on Gina. I've played on her a few times, and I think she's got the better of me most times because she's usually playing with the taller shooter. So if you double back on the shooter, then you've left Gina by herself, and then she'll just run the show. And it's really hard to play on Gina, but she was just a great player. So I have no tips really.
Matty?
I think I'm going to have to go with North this one. So Emma, especially Tani Nesta and Gina look to be really working well together in that circle. Obviously both scoring very well against Ballarat last week, and with East Point having them big outs, I think North are going to have a win in this one.
Yeah, look, I suppose that netball show exclusive that Emma just dropped on us has probably swayed me towards North Ballarat City as well this week. Obviously, Sarah Milton being out is a big loss for North, but having 4 key players out of that East Point side really makes things difficult. We know how well North are gelling together at the moment, so at the Eastern Oval, I'm probably going to have to tip North Ballarat City in this one. Local derby down in Melton this week. Melton South taking on Melton, and obviously Melton with the bye last week after their loss against Redan in round 1 will start this game as favourites, but as we've seen so far, Emma, Melton South look like a different side this year. They've recruited well in the off-season and they've really got a team to kind of suit their style of play.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, I haven't seen Melton South play at all, but I've heard, and obviously they've only lost to Sunbury by a goal 2 weeks ago, and that's something that, you know, not many teams would be able to do this year. So yeah, I'm interested to actually play against Melton South to see what they have. But
No, sorry.
No, you're
I'm
right.
cutting you off there.
You're fine. You go.
Melton South apparently had 4 out last week against Redan, Matty, so that may have inflated the scoreline in that game a little bit. Which way are you leaning in this one?
Yeah, I think I'm going to go with Melton South this one. Obviously,
Are you?
both very strong sides, but having watched Melton South that first round, I keep on talking about it, but they just look so well structured and really got some good pace around the court, so I think they're going to be too quick for Melton, and I think they'll come away and win, and it'll be a close game. So
Obviously, the key to Melton, as we know, is Mel McCauley up in goals at the moment, just with her height and her accuracy in goal, and I suppose the physical way that she plays as well. Emma, she's always being able to make position and get the ball in clear positions as well. She looms as the big key in this match, as she does in most Melton games, especially with Brooke Thompson out injured at the moment. And look, Mel is a fantastic player, and she is that kind of player that can win a game on her own. And look, I reckon she'll get Melton over the line this week. It'll be a close one. It'll be a lot closer than most people think, but I think the Bloods will just get over the line. They've obviously got a pretty good team all across the court as well. Their mid-quarters really move the ball well, and they're good at getting the ball into Mel in good positions where she can shoot it. So I reckon Melton will get up in this one. Sebastopol taking on Bacchus Marsh at the Marty Bush Reserve, and Sebast getting their first win on the board last week, Matty. And really good day for Sebastopol because a couple of their key players were down or out on the day and they were still able to get over the line, which is a really good sign.
yeah, look, obviously Sebast, we kept on thinking they'd get their first win soon, so it's good to see them finally get that on the board. But I think they'll get their second win this week. Obviously Bacchus Marsh still winless coming into round 4, and Sebast, I really think they're going to be a fantastic side this year and be pushing in the finals. So I think they'll have one over there on Bacchus Marsh, and they should. I'm going to tip them to win comfortably, I think.
Another couple of teams that you haven't seen yet this season, Emma, but you would have heard a fair bit about both Sebast and Bacchus Marsh. How do you see this game panning out?
I think also I'm going to go with Sebast this week. I think they had a good win last week, so I think they'll take a lot of confidence out of that and put it into this week. But yeah, I think just with like Georgia and Aaron just in goals, I think they'll be too strong for Bacchus Marsh this weekend.
Yeah, Sebastopol for me as well. We know Bacchus Marsh are in a bit of a rebuilding phase this year, and look, all credit to Bacchus Marsh. Frank Pavlovich, very good coach at the helm, and we'll get those girls playing some good netball, but you just feel that Sebastopol are probably that step more advanced from them. Bacchus Marsh are probably where Sebastopol were this time last year, so with that extra 12 months of experience, I reckon we'll get Sebastopol over the line. The last game for this weekend, Sunbury taking on Redan. This is going to be another absolute beaut, Emma. You played against Sunbury on the weekend. They're a hard team to stop. They're the reigning premiers, but Redan have been in fantastic form this year as well, with a couple of close results in the early rounds and then flogging a fairly highly fancied Melton South last week, and they structure up well all across the court, Redan.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it'll be very, very tight this game. I really don't know who I'd pick. Just probably coming off the loss to Sunbury, I'd probably think maybe they would just get over the line, only because of how hard Sophie is to stop. But yeah, Redan have started off the season really, really well, and I think they'll be a real premiership contender this year as well. So
you mentioned how hard Sophie Gunn, we talked about, is to stop in goals for Sunbury, but Erin Riley's been in fantastic form in defence this year for Redan as well, and also throughout the regional state league comp. Do you see that as kind of the key matchup in the game?
Yeah, Erin's got a bit more height than sort of say we had in our defence line. So if Erin can get on top of Sophie, then it'll be a complete different game, I think.
And they've worked well in the last couple of weeks. Like they worked well kind of doubling off Mel McCauley against the Melton game as well, having Amy Elliott back there, who's a very experienced player as well, and being able to double off and really close that avenues for Mel. So it'd be very interesting to see how they go defensively, because they've also got someone like Emma Henry that, much like yourself, is good at both ends of the court and can make a difference if she swings back into defence.
Yeah, absolutely. I think Redan have a lot of depth this year, more than they did last year, so I think that's sort of something they really have this year.
Matty, which way are you leaning in this one, my friend?
I've said it every show this season that Sunbury are looking like they're going to be unstoppable for this year. But after watching how Redan, or not watching, but seeing how Redan are once they come over Melton South, and I just don't think they're going to stop their winning streak. I think I'm going to tip Redan for this one in a very close one. Sunbury, obviously, a fantastic side, but I think Redan just coming in, playing the reigning premiers, Redan coming in thinking they've got nothing to lose. They really want to beat Sunbury. Obviously, they've knocked off a few of the leaders this year already, but Sunbury's the big one, so I think that this is going to be the one that they really want to win this year, and I think that they're going to win.
Well, the Redan girls don't like it when I tip against them. That's been shown throughout this season with the reception I've got against the Melton game when I tipped against them as well, and obviously got on their bandwagon last week and they did the job nicely, but I'm going to tip against them again. I'm going to go with Sunbury on their home court. Obviously, a very strong side, and having the ability with players like Ruth Smith to come into the side and really give a point of difference to Sophie in the goals as well as a change. Emily as a party was very good last week. The fact that they can get players in like Danny Davidson, like Ailish McCormack, that are really good players that can step in from the Riddle District League to give them a chop out at times when they're a bit down on numbers, it really gives Sunbury that little bit of extra depth. And look, this is going to be another really close game, but I can just see Sunbury just getting over the line, and I'm already listening to my phone ringing with the messages from the Redan girls saying, you're tipping against us again, what are you doing? So that's how this week's going to look in the BFL's senior netball competition. Emma Ryan from East Point, thanks for joining us this week. Congratulations on being our SC Technology Group Player of the Month, and best luck with the Pride this weekend, and obviously with East Point going forward as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks so much for having me.
Not a problem at all. Maddie, it's always a pleasure having you here, mate. Thank you for your time once again. And
I'll be back again next week.
You will indeed. That's the BFNL Netball Show for another week. We look forward to seeing you around the courts this weekend.